back to another episode of Community Conversations. I am your host, Wdsd, the founder and CEO of BetterTogetherCommunity.org, the only online platform dedicated to nonprofit organizations. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of speaking with Tracy Nixon and Debbie Morris of Gigi's Playhouse, New York City. This organization supports individuals with Down syndrome and their families, providing them social support and community. Let's listen in on how Tracy Nixon and Debbie Morris are helping the community at large.
So, along with Debbie, we founded Gigi's New York City, I guess 10 years ago now. And our roles, I call us the agony aunts at this point. We're not officially on the board, but we are still very much involved with the operations. Well, I shouldn't say the operations, but certainly the I don't know, what do you call, look and feel, the goals. We're still very connected to the Playhouse. We still very much participate in the activities at the Playhouse and do our best to support the wonderful leadership that we have there right now.
So you both came in at the same time, 10 years ago.
We got together maybe 11 to 12 years ago and said, we need something to, we need to build something where our girls would find their community, right? In addition to their school community and everything they do outside of school. And Tracy admittedly found Gigi's Playhouse, the National, before I did. And that was that. We said, we should definitely bring Gigi's Playhouse to New York City. And that's how it happened. And we did spend a couple of years looking for space and getting a board together. And, there's quite a lot of work to do in a startup nonprofit. And we looked at a lot of space and we were able to open our doors 10 years ago.
Girls in school together before that, or how did you meet?
Our girls were not in school together, but we did know each other before that. And we had been introduced by another woman who has a son with Down syndrome. And I remember the first time we went out to dinner, actually, Debbie, because Sophia was very young, months old. And Laura is a few months older than Sophia, right? And I remember thinking to myself, well, she's quite cool. And if ever, I said, there are a lot of amazing, nice things about having a child with Down syndrome, but one of them is that I've had a chance to meet some of the most amazing women ever, and men too, but primarily moms. And Debbie was right up there with them. And we'd known each other for, I guess, a good year before we decided to go ahead and bring the Playhouse to New York. And I think that helped too, because I think it helped establish a friendship and a working relationship that has held firm and been very sustaining, certainly for me personally, all these years.
I love that. I love that you guys knew each other. It's always fun and it's always great to do things with your friends. And I know sometimes, business and friends, it's hard to mix, but when it works, it works. And it sounds like you knew from the beginning that this was something that could be really great to get to work on together. I love that you said she seemed really cool. That's how I met all my friends.
I fooled her.
I see people across the room and no, that person, I get that person. That person's gonna get it. It's so important. So tell me a little bit about Gigi's Playhouse. Like, what's the mission for the organization?
Gigi's Playhouse, what we essentially do is we offer free and therapeutic programming for people of Down syndrome from basically age 0 to the end of their lives. And, really what, the mission of the Playhouse is for other people to see our abilities, right? So, and to really accept the Down syndrome community for, exactly who they are and to really celebrate them and empower them. And that is why we do programming from, when they're not even walking, not even crawling, all the way to, through adulthood. So it's important for us that all of the age groups have a community of their kind of like-minded peers where they can go be themselves, for example, every time my daughter goes to the Playhouse, she wants to grab the microphone and sing, Let It Go, right? So it doesn't matter how old the song is, right? It doesn't matter that we don't talk about Bruno, took it over. But that's what she likes to do. And that's a place where she goes and she feels comfortable. And so, I don't know, Trace, I mean, empowering, making sure there's a place for our community. Absolutely. And, New York City is a place that really did not have any place like Gigi's Playhouse. There are plenty of places, I won't say plenty, but there are definitely some places for people to go who, for example, have autism and other varying abilities. But for us, there was no place that was set up solely for people with Down syndrome. And yet there's a very large number of people in New York City who have Down syndrome. So we thought, let's bring this. And granted, we started out with, the younger programs, right? And we've just grown. So it's been really just a wonderful journey.
Just to tack on to what Debbie was saying, there were two things that struck me very quickly after Laura was diagnosed with Down syndrome. One was that while I was very sure or felt committed to having her included as much as possible in everyday life and all of life, inclusion educationally and in the community, that was very important to me. I also knew that life, what made me happy in life was to have friends and to feel, safe and secure. And having good friends is an extremely important part of that. And I wanted her to know her community and to have her peers close by so that she can develop good friendships now when she was young, so that they would remain friends for the rest of her life. And the nice thing about inclusion is that our community moves along with the larger community. But one small downside is that our community is not grouped in one area anymore. They don't all go to one school. They don't all go to one, live in one place. And so sometimes finding each other can be difficult. Just where are the other kids my daughter's age who have Down syndrome? And that was what I hoped that Gigi's would do. Gigi's New York City would do for our community. It would be a place that they could all come together and know that they would be able to find their community and be able to develop these relationships and friendships that will last them a lifetime. And it has definitely done that. It has been the place for Laura to find her people and to enjoy being with them. The other thing that struck me was that in any circumstances, if you don't have the resources to help kind of, without resources or a lot of resources, it reduces your flexibility and your options. And I saw many families who just simply did not have the resources they needed to affect change for their children. They wanted occupational therapy or some additional therapies or some additional activities, and they just could not afford them. And I thought that Gigi's model of providing programming and therapeutic programming at no cost to the participants really appealed to me. And I thought, well, this is a way of giving something back to the community, making sure that if someone needed a service or needed a program, they'd be able to get it at no cost. And so those are the two things that I had hoped that Gigi's New York City would do, and it has done that. And to that extent, I'm extremely very pleased with where we are and looking forward to the next 10 years.
Congratulations on the past 10 years, because that's, that's no easy feat. And also, first of all, I love the inclusion aspect of it, because that's so incredibly important. Everyone deserves to have the ability to make those friends and to provide that social context of just feeling included and being included in your community. Mm-hmm. I love that you do lifespan. That is, not very common for a lot of nonprofits, where they just focus on, one age group, and then you age out, and then what? So that I thank you for that, because that is so important in helping, the children grow and grow into the teens. And you're watching it now, I'm assuming, right? Because it's been 10 years, so they're in their teenage years.
And I hope we survive it.
You will, I promise you will. I know. I'm sure. I love that. In terms of programming, you mentioned, having some social recreation activities, I'm sure, but you also offer occupational therapy or different types of therapy. Can you just expand on that a little bit? Like, if someone comes to Gigi's Playhouse, what programs are offered to them specifically?
We offer an array of programs, and we don't offer occupational therapy per se, but what we do is have programming that includes building skill sets in those areas, right?
Okay.
So obviously, Sophia, my daughter, grew up with so much PT and so much occupational therapy. And when you really think about it, everyday living is all about PT and OT skills. So all of our programs, include, kind of elements of both of those. But what we also do is we have tutoring programs. So we have some speech programs. We have a literacy program. We have a math program. And what I'm really excited about personally is that, as an organization, we're moving toward the next stage, which is something called Gigi's U, where we're going to be doing some programming to get our students ready for either college or the job market. And so we really do feel that we've covered or are about to be covering every stage of a person's life. And for us as founders, I think I can speak for Tracy on this one. It's so exciting. And frankly, 12 years ago when we first started, I'm not sure I ever envisioned all that. So I'm thrilled with, where we've come so far and under the existing leadership, how we're going to continue to expand our programming to really make sure we've covered all the stages of life.
And you're meeting the needs as they come. And that's part of that flexibility. And that's learning just through learning from the individuals that you're working with, I'm sure, because they're all going through it for the first time and we're kind of all learning together.
We are blessed to have an amazing community. And as you suggested, some of our programming bubbles up from our community. So if families are looking for certain programs, we try to be sensitive and responsive to those requests. And we try to apply a very holistic approach to programming. So we have, in addition to the programs that Debbie mentioned, we also have Gigi Fit, which is focusing on fitness and nutrition and so forth. We and to your point of having not-for-profits speak to each other, we have been very successful at doing a number of partnerships with other not-for-profits. The Best Buddies program that we have, it has been very successful. We have a Best Buddies chapter for the high school students, and we have a Best Buddies chapter for the students who are about to leave high school, so a little bit older age group, which has been very successful. We have a gratitude art committee for the older, over 21 participants, and these are many of these programs have come from our community. Hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we have this? Can you do this? And I think that makes it very exciting. And I want to go back. I mentioned our leadership, but I do want to just really give them a shout out. Debbie and I have been extremely fortunate to, yes, we gave birth to this baby, but really a lot of the rearing has been done by the community, people coming together from within and saying, yes, I want to step up and take a leadership role and take Gigi to the next level or over the next 10 years. And so to that end, Jane Providenti and Yamira Yu are the co-presidents, and I just think they're terrific. And yeah, it's true. I like them personally, and they're friends. But these women really are doing all the heavy lifting, and they're the real face of the Playhouse, and they're terrific.
Gigi's Playhouse, New York City. Is that all of New York City or the borough of Manhattan? Do you bring everybody in from outside the boroughs, or what's the focus in terms of demographic? Where are you pulling from?
One of the important criteria for finding space was where it was close to public transportation. So exactly for that reason, we do have people from all 5 boroughs that have been to Gigi's Playhouse. We are located right up in Harlem right now, which means we also have had Westchester and Connecticut families come. As well as families on Long Island. So we love to see any people with Down syndrome from wherever they might come from. We've had people visiting, people who, live wherever they do, and they come through New York City and they said, we just had to stop by and visit New York City. So we've been very fortunate to be able to attract, quite a large number of people from well outside of Manhattan. I mean, look, I'm a Brooklyn family, right? So it's a little bit further of a commute, but it's well worth every minute of that.
What is the greatest need of Gigi's Playhouse, New York City?
I mean, I make a great team for a lot of reasons. And one of them is that I am definitely the dreamer of the two of us. I mean, I as far as I'm concerned, everything's possible. We just haven't found the right person. We just haven't picked up the right rock. We just haven't, it's hard for me to just accept, I don't know, that there are limitations on what we can do. So from the very beginning, I have always envisioned us to have a space in New York City that was big enough and flexible enough for us to offer an array of programs that frankly I have always had in my mind that we have yet to be able to do because of the limitations on space. So yes, our greatest need is a larger space that can accommodate more of our community, more of our participants, more of our families, and frankly, just more of the community at large. Because again, we are an inclusive community. Yes, we are the only organization devoted to participants with Down syndrome, but we are open to anyone in the community who wants to be a part of Gigi's Playhouse, New York City. And we just need a bigger space. We have in Harlem, our location is lovely. It's in a great location. It's close to public transportation, as Debbie mentioned, but we need about 3 times the size of it to do the things that we really want to do. And so as I guess a corollary to that is space in New York City costs money. So we need to raise more funds. We have a great donor base, a wonderful group of supporters who have been with us for many, many years, and we continue to bring in new relationships and new supporters. But with that, we are looking to really hone in on the space need and hopefully be able to make a difference in that regard over the next 6 to 12 months.
If you could imagine the space, if you could close your eyes and open them in the space, what does the space look like to you? Put it out there.
I don't want to hog the whole imagination thing.
Tracy, what does it look like to you?
Now, Debbie, you be practical and you tell them what it should look like. Because I don't want to discuss my skyscraper or anything.
I don't see a skyscraper. Tracy is right. We do need a place that's at least 3 times the size. Look, it would be the one thing that would be very important to me is a kitchen. And, that's for a host of reasons. We run a program called Gigi's Kitchen. Currently it's virtual. It works out very well. My daughter, Sophia, participates. And I think Nora probably does as well. Wednesday afternoons, they're on the Zoom call and they get a recipe, earlier in the week. My daughter helps out with the grocery shopping of those items, right? So that's skill building. And then she helps to cook it. And then, depends on who's home, my husband or I, we're happy we get dinner out. So, that really works well. But if we had a place that had a kitchen, right, and we could bring participants in and do some of those, kind of cooking skills, prep skills. Look, it's all about, activities of daily living. And we all have a kitchen and we all, even if we're not very good cooks, we do make things in the kitchen. And then really, look, I think that, ideally it would have a kitchen. It would have several different, I'm going to say a mini conference room where we could do all of the tutoring that we do, right? So that, people could really be very focused on what the task is. We would obviously have probably 2 much bigger rooms so we could run parallel programs at the same time, perhaps a teen program as well as, like the early walkers program. We would have something that looked like, like a comfy den for the teens to kind of hang out in with couches and a big TV. There's a whole host of things, right? And I think Tracy probably pretty proud of what I'm saying so far, right? It's not a skyscraper because I personally would like it all on one floor. But but Right now we're in a space where we have room for one person, Rosella, who is our operations director. And, we have a tiny bit of a storage room, and we have just a kind of a living room sized place for one program, right? We have a couch and some chairs for parents, because we really should not be remiss, and we should make sure to mention that a lot of what we do also is helping parents, because when you have a newborn come into the Playhouse with, the baby's caregivers who are like, oh my God, how do I do this? What do I do? Parents give each other so much support and advice. So that sitting area for parents is important. Plus, we also do run, in the evening times, we run conversations for parents where we bring in various specialists through all the different, walks of life. But, we need something that's, 3,000 square feet, right? We need a big space. Look, we're not greedy, so we'll go from our 1,200 square foot to, we'd happily take something in between. But the reality is, with our population of the Playhouse that's really been increasing, and our desire to really serve more of the population, and simultaneously, we definitely need more space.
I'd like to echo what Debbie said about the family support. The other aspect of Gigi's is resources for families, and a place where families can get together and commune and speak and talk about their experiences. And we need space for that. We do. We need a place they can just hang out and talk, and also if they have a dedicated space to do that, they can step back from their kids a bit and let them figure things out. Let the volunteers that come, these amazing volunteers that we have, take over for a bit and give them a little bit of a break, the parents and so forth. So yeah, I really love your description, actually, Debbie. That's exactly what we need. And it's New York City and space issue. While I have been humbled, I am not defeated. I do believe we will find something. We certainly are actively looking. We have come very, very close. But at the end of the day, we will find the right thing. Back to the kitchen, for example, wouldn't it be nice to be able to have a cafe where we can then train our participants to, be baristas or, whatever needs to be done. It would also generate revenue. We could open it up to the community and have a cafe. We could do, I always had this vision of us doing dinner theater, where you show a movie and the kids will, and bring people in, sell them a couple of drinks, I'm all for a couple of drinks. So, there's just so much that we could do if we had the right space. So we are truly focused on that. And again, our goal is to have a solution to that within the next 6 to 12 months.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of that information at the bottom of this video. And then if you have an individual, perhaps the operations manager, or if there's just a general email address, we'll add that to the bottom as well. If anyone has any inquiries or knows of anything, that's how we really just start the conversation and try to move people to who knows what and where can we get that information, right? It's been absolutely lovely speaking with you both. At the end, I do like to do a little last word. I don't want to catch you off guard, but you two have been very successful nonprofit, directors and founders for the past 10 years. How do you keep going? We've been through a lot, and I'm sure the past 2 years have been really rough. What's your advice to yourself? How do you keep going? What do you say to yourself every day?
When I think deeply about what we've managed to create in New York City, and I take myself through kind of thinking through all of the great memories we have with, the Playhouse and the community and whatnot. And I really summarize it by saying it's really been the best accomplishment of my life. And I have a good job. I'm, a fairly seasoned insurance executive. But for me, this has been not only one of the greatest pleasures, but really one of my biggest accomplishments. And giving back to the community that's given so much to me is extremely important. And that's really what keeps me going.
I feel the very same way, Debbie. It's I'm extremely proud of what we've done. You know, as I said, I think having a child with Down syndrome has opened up so many doors and relationships that I would never have had if I didn't have her. And so what keeps me going is, even on the darkest days, and boy, my daughter and I have had some dark days, but even on the darkest days, you know, I look at her and I see the change in me. Really, I see the different me that I was. I'm a different person than I was the day before she was born, and everything about the Playhouse reminds me of that feeling I had when she was born, and that was, I'm different now, and I'm going to do what needs to be done to make you happy and to make this world know you and understand you and give you room to be you. And so I think every day I do try to remind myself of what I'm here for, really, and I'm excited to be involved with it. I am excited about the next 10 years. I think that the greatest accomplishments are yet to come for the Playhouse. And I'm excited to be, hopefully, you know, be around to see it. I think it's terrific. So before I forget, though, I do want to mention that we have our annual gala that's coming up on October 21st. And to the extent that you would be so kind as to put that at the bottom of the
Of course, yeah.
video, that would be terrific. October 21st, it's a Friday. It's a Friday, isn't it? Is it a Friday? Can't remember. October 21st.
Whatever it is, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it really is. I tell you, whenever two or more people with Down syndrome get together, it will be a party. I can tell you that.
For sure.
It will be a party. So thank you very much for inviting us on.
Absolutely. Tracy and Debbie, I've learned so much about Gigi's Playhouse. I've learned so much about the two of you. And, you know, today we're recording on International Women's Day. And honestly, I can say also, you know, it's my daughter that pushes me through. I have a son and a daughter. My daughter is the one that pushes me through. She pushes my buttons. She pushes my buttons, but she pushes me over to the next side every day because I want this world to be so much better for her. And, you know, and that's what I'm going to work for. And that's what I'm going to work towards. So I thank you for joining me in that, because sometimes you do feel like you're alone, like you're the only mom trying to but we're all doing it. We're all, you know.
Yes, we are.
But all together. And
Every
right,
day.
like we're better together. That's what it is. But thank you both again so much. I'm going to put all of that information, the website, your donate page, everything is going to be right at the bottom of this video. And then hopefully everybody can support Gigi's Playhouse in New York City.
Thank you very much.